Oh, just the way you can have one.
What everyone wants to eat.
One of the young guys, the college student, says, that's what you for. Oh, well.
Oh, so you're going to be filmed too? Are
Oh.
you filming it?
I'm going to, yeah.
Uh-oh. We ain't gonna get away with nothing now.
Nothing. All those spitballs you wanted to throw,
Yeah.
no dice.
Well, I was thinking maybe I'd get out with this chair, but I guess not.
That would be a feat for sure. Well, I'll let you know when filming's done. How about that?
Okay. I wonder if the guy could just take one and roll right out there like he owns it. How far would a guy get?
Well, I guess you do kind of have part of it.
Well, yeah.
In possession, right?
Ah, well.
I do. We'll talk about that actually right now. So,
There's that big barbecue going on. So.
okay.
If you vote, you can eat. We heard.
Yeah, that's what we should have done. If you vote, you can come wear a K-pop.
You want to go vote real quick? We'll wait.
And
And
Yeah.
then you can grab your lunch.
you guys are such a great audience.
Bring back 2 big cups of coffee, would you?
Oh my goodness.
Free food. We could have.
We might have an intermission. How's that sound? Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Tasia Ramon, and I'm with the Renewable Resources Club here at FECC. And as part of our Earth Week, which is going on all week, we have a series of workshops, and this one is the Environmentally Safe Household Cleaners Workshop. So I have prepared a couple different demonstration recipe kind of things for you guys. What I'm going to talk about today in particular are the laundry soap, because I feel like people do laundry all the time, hand soap, and dishwashing soap. The hand soap and the dishwashing soap are almost exactly the same, which I think is interesting because you keep your hand soap and your dishwashing soap right there next to the sink, and in this case you have one big bottle that you make very easy, very convenient, all at once. And obviously it's safe for your hands because you have it sitting there in your sink. And so to get started, we're going to talk about environmentally safe cleaners. Why would we want to use them? Why would we have environmentally safe cleaners? Well, because a lot of people, they may not realize it at the time that they're experiencing, itchy skin or headaches or just a general feeling of illness on a day-to-day basis. Also, the more serious illnesses that can arise from carcinogens such as cancer and other just cancer is a big one. But there are so many things that affect us that we don't realize are directly from the pollutants we bring into our household, like household cleaners. Those things can build up in our household, and we have them sitting there, we clean up a mess, we don't feel well afterward, thinking that we're keeping germs away, when in fact we're probably harming ourselves, maybe a little more than that. 64% of the people that are affected by household cleaners are under the age of 6. So in a lot of cases, we're really harming the children that might be in our households If there aren't children in our households, it's still not a good idea. But another good reason, of course, is the environmental factors. There is a lot of talk about our water being poisoned when things get washed down the drain, when we dump them outside, anywhere. Everything makes it back to our water system. Everything goes back into our groundwater or into our sewage system, which then goes through the refining plant and still doesn't completely get rid of those chemicals. Those are always in there to some degree. So the more we can do to reduce that, the better off everybody is. And finally, two things people are very skeptical about when it comes to making your own cleaners and not getting the stuff at the store is, will it work? And yes, it does work. These recipes came from somewhere. They started somewhere. We are recreating synthetically original recipes that were used years and years ago and were the only way we did clean until companies decided to get together and make formulas and manufacture them and sell them. So yes, they work. They are the original way to clean your house. So, and also, are they expensive? They're way cheaper than the household cleaners that you buy on a day-to-day basis. Not only are you able to buy all of these ingredients in bulk and interchange them for different things, but you're also able to reuse your containers, which cuts down on the landfill waste as well as the cost of what packaging adds to your household cleaners. So it's just an all-around good idea. You get all sorts of wonderful benefits from it. So the basic ingredients that this book talks about, which is Clean and Green by Anne Berthold. If you guys want to go ahead and take a look at that, you're welcome to, just to peruse while I talk. And also, you guys have a scratch paper with pen. That's wonderful. I see that you do too, Ruth. And then there's an email sign-up list up there, and I will be happy to email the information as we discussed earlier, and that'll cut down on our paper waste just to get the full experience of Earth Week here. So some basic ingredients that you could buy and just have on hand in your house and use for almost any occasion, whether it be in your kitchen, on your floors, with your laundry, cleaning your appliances, really just anything you would run into in your house cleaning. These will do it. So there's borax, vinegar or lemon juice, baking soda, washing soda, unperfumed non-chemical soap like Ivory soap. It's pretty basic, which is what I'm going to be using today. So that, just a little plug for Ivory, you hear me? Vegetable oil-based liquid soap, which is something they typically sell at health food stores. So you might look for that there, but I wouldn't doubt that some supermarkets probably carry it. Zeolite, which I'm not as familiar with. It's a little more of a specialized chemical cleaner, or non-chemical cleaner, excuse me. But it is really good for an antifungal and antibacterial. It's also a little bit abrasive. Grapefruit seed extract, which I need to take a moment with because I love grapefruit seed extract. Are you guys familiar with this at all? Okay, so grapefruit seed extract is what they use to disinfect hospitals in Europe. And, you know, our FDA system doesn't approve it. And I don't know, things may have changed in Europe since the last time I looked into this, but until very recently at least, this is a hospital-grade disinfectant. If you put it on, just directly on your surface, whatever you're disinfecting, you know, you've just cooked some chicken or something like that, and you just get a damp cloth and this stuff, put it right on there and rub it around, get your surface visibly clean, and then just leave it there. You don't rinse it or anything, and it continues to do its work. Just sitting on the counter. Doesn't leave a residue, smells, kind of doesn't really smell so much actually. But it's got, if you peel back this little label on here, it's got so many uses, you would be shocked. It's an old bottle, so the peel has come back. But there's, I don't know if you can read that tiny writing.
So this is better than what you buy, the alcohol hand cleaner?
Yeah, this would be, I mean, there's because it's such a good cleaner, it probably is something you'd want to dilute to just put on your hands. You might want to kind of put it into a maybe aloe vera or vegetable glycerin based kind of thing, just to not, so it's not so intense on your hands, because that might cause some rawness or something, because it's irritation, exactly. So, and it's really effective, but it's highly concentrated. So just make sure that you are following the package's directions in diluting it. But it, you know, some people take it internally for sickness, and that's again diluted in water. And you can use it as skin treatments, as mouthwash. But for our purposes, as a household cleaner in almost any case, it's very effective. We also have a variety of essential oils that you can use. The essential oils you would get have their different properties as well. Tea tree oil. Have you guys heard about tea tree oil? It's a pretty common one for like skin and things like that. However, it's also a very effective fungicide and bactericide. If you put a couple drops of tea tree oil in your shoes, along with some lavender oil and maybe some vinegar, it will help get that funk out of your shoes. Just spray it in there, let them air out overnight. I do it on a regular basis. I have my favorite pair of shoes that I've worn forever with no socks all the time. And after I give my inner linings a little wash, I spray them down with this and then continue to, and I go forever without that recurring smell in my shoes. But if you have like a spot in your house that's prone to getting moldy somewhere in the bathroom, and you put like a solution of tea tree oil, vinegar and lavender, or just dab some of it on a cloth with the grapefruit seed extract, that's an antifungal, and that will help diminish that in your house. Very simple, smells great. And then of course we have lavender, which has similar properties. These are antiseptic herbs, the lavender, and then I have pine needle oil, as well as eucalyptus oil. And those are all, I mean, they all are kind of interchangeable. You can have any one of those on hand for the smell that you like the best, because they all kind of do similar things. But if you get specifically into researching them, they also have their own special properties that might be more beneficial. You know, maybe you prefer lavender for the bathroom, whereas you might put tea tree oil more in, and eucalyptus in the kitchen because it's that stronger, more potent smell. Citrus oils like lemon, orange, and grapefruit all make really good wood polishes and dusting. If you put just a little dab on a cloth of lemon oil or orange oil and you dust your house with it, you've got that lovely smell, and it diminishes the dust and can help polish the wood if you're using it on wood. But really just any surface, it's a good one for it. And you know, they get fancy. They add all sorts of other things into them, and depending on your needs, you could get fancy too with like carnauba wax or beeswax, and add it in there to get that extra polish on your furniture. But really just a drop or two of the oil is sufficient, so it's not that complicated. There are some valuable tips when you are cleaning your house that people don't usually think about, and they're so simple and so lovely. If you have a spot of sunshine one day and you need to fade the spots on a sheet or your nice white shirt or whatever, you just hang it in the sunshine and let it have that sun, and that's natural bleaching action. I mean, we've all seen things get left in the sun and fade, and that's because it's such a powerful brightener for things. So hanging your laundry outside to air out in the sun, you're saving energy by not putting them in a dryer. You're preserving the quality of the fabric. It'll last longer because it's, you know, not getting that heat and that agitation all the time. And you have the power of the sunlight to bleach it out. So that's an additional help with that. Another thing to reduce the fungus and mold buildup is dehumidifying your rooms and just letting in the fresh air. People just don't value that fresh air quality enough, I think, and it really does work. Just open a window or somehow make your house drier with the dehumidifier, and that's pretty effective. And again, using antifungal agents like the oils and borax. Some implements that you might need, just like a spray bottle, a cellulose sponge cloth, natural latex gloves, reused and reusable rags, sea silk sponges, cotton mops, buckets and pails. Very simple implements that people probably already have. But when we're talking about the implements, people get done with their clothes and they're ripped up and whatever, and they don't think enough to make them into a rag. This is a nice, soft scrubbing cloth now, this sock. And I've lost its mate. It's got a hole in the heel, but it's nice and thick and lovely, and I can get a lot of scrubbing out of this. And then you can rewash it until you've just worn it to bits. And then maybe you use it for fire starter or something, if you have a fireplace. This one I have used for nail polish remover. I don't have to use rolls and rolls of tissue paper, a lot of cotton balls. I remove my nail polish with my sock. And then you have, like, I have denim scraps when I make my cutoffs, and that's a really nice soft cloth that won't scratch your furniture. And it's good and absorbent, and after you've used this and rewashed it a few times, you've got like the nicest, softest little scrubbing cloth, you know? So you can use those on your windows, you can use them on your table surfaces, anywhere you need to. That's my favorite thing. I have a bag of rags that it grows pretty quickly for me because I have a lot of clothes, but and there are also many other natural products that you can buy at the store, and they're wonderful and convenient, and if that's what you need to do for whatever purposes, you just, you know, don't have the time, or you know, in a pinch you need to go get. There's so many wonderful things, and I'd be happy to email if you have any special requests for specific store-bought products that you'd be more comfortable getting that way. I'd be more than happy to include a list of companies and products that you can get. So, enough talk, let's make something. All right, so our first list, our first thing on the list for household cleaners is our Fantastic Cleaner, which I chose because it seems to be a really good all-purpose, all-around cleaner. I meant to get a spray bottle. I thought I had one, but instead I'm going to go ahead and reuse an old shampoo bottle. We'll pretend. It'll be great. So, I feel like this might be in your guys' view, so I'm going to go ahead and take it down to this point, or just put it over here. Alright, so we have, the recipe is 1 teaspoon borax, which we've got right here, a half teaspoon washing soda, right here, 2 tablespoons vinegar or lemon juice, I brought vinegar, and a half a teaspoon vegetable oil-based soap. Now I didn't have time to stop by and get vegetable oil-based soap, and I also didn't know that this leaked. We shook it. But at home I did make my own hand soap / dish soap. And when you make this, I'll just kind of skip over for a second. You can flake the soap into water, and you simmer it on the stove for about 2 hours if you have a full bar of soap, and that emulsifies it all into the water and makes a liquid soap. But vegetable oil-based soap is something you can buy at the store. So you put that in 2 cups of very hot water. I have some hot water here, and you have 1 spray bottle here. So this is my little measuring cup, because I didn't have the traditional measurers with me. So we're going to do 1 teaspoon borax. And I was never one to measure exactly, but in my personal opinion, I don't think that matters so much. I know about what a teaspoon looks like. It goes directly into your bottle. And we've got our washing soda, which is 1/2 teaspoon. Washing soda, just so you guys know, is a little bit caustic. It's an abrasive. It's what kind of scrubs things for you. So if you are working with a lot of washing soda, or you know it's going to come in direct contact with your skin, you'll want gloves on, and you'll want to rinse really well. And that's just for you. It's extremely effective, and sometimes really effective things, just like the dilution of the grapefruit seed extract requires
So it
care.
doesn't all dissolve.
It does dissolve. It just takes a little bit longer, and I guess it won't dissolve completely because it's got the scrubbing power. So it would be a little bit granulated, but that's like having a little scour pad built into your stuff. So that's
washing soda.
washing
different than
soda.
baking soda.
Different than baking soda. Yes, different than baking soda. I'm actually gonna take off my brace because I can feel things getting stuck in there. All right. So we've got that, and then we have 2 tablespoons of baking soda. I believe there are 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon. Does that sound about right to anybody?
Yeah, we'll find it.
Yeah. And I'm treating this like a teaspoon, so 6 of those in here.
Talking about
Tablespoon, teaspoon.
hanging out clothes. We hang our clothes out here around here in the winter.
Yay! Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, you
Then we
guys.
bring them, and then we bring them in
Uh-huh.
and finish them off in the house
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
so
freshens
cool.
up the house.
I do the same thing.
We don't even have a dryer in the house.
That's awesome. Me neither. I really appreciate that. That's so cool. I just read, and I did not know this before, but while I was doing my research for this project, I read that, ooh, this is real nice. If you add salt to your rinse cycle, it keeps your clothes from freezing solid outside. If that's interesting to you at all.
Oh, we like it.
So what does it do to your clothes then?
What's that?
What would it do to your clothes?
That's a really good question. They didn't mention anything like that. I feel like it would soften them though. Yeah, kind of give it a water softening quality, perhaps. So, let's see. I just did the 2 tablespoons of vinegar, and then we have
Oops.
Got her confused.
I know, right? That's okay. I got back on track real quick. That's why I have things written down. And then half a teaspoon of vegetable-based oil soap. So we'll just do this half full. And then our hot water. And as you can see, you can get really creative with reusing your bottles. I have this awesome conditioner bottle that already has like the vague scent, which is not, I mean, being completely chemical free, because if it has that vague scent, it's probably got the vague chemicals still in there. But Suave is it's a pretty good one actually. And I do believe that I've got that about as full as 2 cups, maybe just a little more. It's a 22-ounce bottle, so I only need 16 of it to match my measurements. I'm going to shake that up. Since the water is warm, it'll dissolve a little bit more effectively. If you can imagine that this isn't a spray bottle, then you could just spray it on things. But since it's not, then, you know, no sense in not using it anyway and sprinkling it on.
Does it have to be used warm?
It does not have to be used
Or
warm.
just mix it warm?
Just mix it warm, because then the warm water helps dissolve it. And that's the purpose of that, really. So we will reuse this cup. And then, so moving right along to, and if you guys want to, I don't know, smell this, or I don't know, if you guys want to take a look at it, or, yeah. It smells vaguely like my lavender conditioner. And you can add, this is something you can totally add any essential oil to, and you just want a couple drops. Essential oil is very potent stuff, so really just like 2 to 5 drops depending on your container, but I think that's all that would really need to get a good scent and some good effectiveness out of your stuff. So moving along to our next one, I kind of described the liquid dishwashing and hand soap. Super easy. That's basically all this is. I just grated up the ivory soap And you want to get it as small as you can. And it can take a little bit of time, but it's really not that time consuming at all. And it's kind of fun to watch it. Like if you have a child in your home, if you have anybody that needs busy hands, if you need busy hands.
Two kids. Two cats.
Okay, if you can put those cats to work, that would be good.
Well, they come in with dirty hands.
I'm sure they do. They could be walking on the soap, getting it all tenderized for you.
So you're going to grade up 1 bar.
1 whole bar, yes. So,
Now, could you also use like a glycerin-based soap?
yes, absolutely. Vegetable oil-based soap would be just fine. In fact, that's the other thing that they recommend. They recommend either the Ivory unperfumed. This is unperfumed. So any unscented chemical-free soap will work. And it's all got the same basic principles. Once again, it's marketing and it's packaging that says that we've got all these other things that are going to be great. You can add all those other things that are going to be great. If you want a certain property, there are other things that you can add that will give it that property. So, yeah, it really does. It kind of like goes right down. Watch your little fingers. You don't want to get any fingertips in the cleaning agent. That doesn't really do anything for it. And you won't be able to clean for like a week.
That's how you get out of chores.
That's how you get out of chores, yeah. If you need to do that, that's what you do. So, I mean, like, this is probably sufficient for that, and it's fun to touch. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I'm going to get in there. I don't want to leave you out, I'm sorry. Get in there. Yeah.
But it has a plastic in there.
Yeah, it does. And it'll clump back up pretty easy. So you just sprinkle that in your pan of water, and once again, simmer for 2 hours.
How much water?
I'm sorry?
How much water?
It didn't actually say, and I thought that too. They said melt in a pot of water. So what I would recommend, what I did was I kind of trial and errored mine, like to the consistency I wanted it. I put half a bar of soap in 16 ounces of water. So maybe 32 ounces for a bar of soap. When you cook it down, that water evaporates, so it becomes less. And the thickness, you could dilute it later with more water if you wanted it thinner. So that's where I would take it through my trial and error.
It's like melting our own butter. We take what's left of the soap bar and put it in a little jar, and then when the jar's full, melt it down on the stove.
Perfect. That's an excellent idea.
But it's a Duke's mixture, so.
Oh, there you go.
It's a little bit of this or a little bit of that. What is that tar soap? Pine tar soap?
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. That sounds effective, though. I mean, I really feel like if you're confident that the ingredients in your soap are safe and along those same lines, you could play with it. And there's no reason you can't have creative license over this if you're just aware of what it's made of. And that should be fine.
Well, I'm sure some of this soap is.
Well, that's-
I've got some stuff in it that doesn't
We just
belong.
call it a practice round until you get it down. That's all. That's all. But those are the kinds of ideas that the book is working off of too, But making sure that what you already have you're working off of and reusing. And it's all in the same tradition. And it takes us a while to perfect it and to get used to it. And our lives are so ingrained with the specific way of doing things and habits that we get. So any little effort you can make to move out of that, like reusing the nubs of your soap, I think that's a great idea. That's my little footnote, but yeah. So that's the basic concept, and then you get this. Since I don't have a pot and a stove to heat it on, I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys use your imagination. Try it at home. But what we can use this for now is our next recipe, which are the laundry flakes. And these are kind of my favorite ones. I feel like it's one of the more useful, fun things. 1 bar of perfume-free soap is what they recommend, which we already have, and that's really all that they require for the laundry flakes. But then they recommend washing soda, which is optional, and borax, which is optional. And once again, they don't give measurements because they want you to do a trial and error. But what I've decided we're going to do today is this is 2 ounces, a 2-ounce measuring cup. So what I've decided is we're going to try the 2 ounces of each, because if you'll remember in the Fantastic Cleaner, oh, and I forgot to mention, there's a ratio for the Fantastic Cleaner for a big bucket if you were needing to do mopping or a big job. And they bumped it up to an 1/8 cup of both borax and washing soda, which would be one of these, 2 ounces, an 1/8 cup. And then they bumped everything up to that same ratio, which I will definitely email you guys for the recipes. You're welcome to write it down now, though. So there we have the borax. Mix that all around. And that alone in the washing flakes with the soap kind of keeps it a little, whoops, a little less prone to clumping. It's kind of like cooking. If you can't get dirty, why do it? Plus then you get to try your cleaning agents out right away. All right, and then we put in the washing soda. So borax is a water softener and a like an antiseptic. You know, it keeps things kind of more sterilized, I guess, if that's the right word. Sterilized to me sounds like bleach and icky cleaners, but that's kind of, I think, what they're going for there. And then the washing soda, like I said, is the scrubber. It's the way that they, and it cuts the oil and the grease. So that's what those do to benefit. And so I'm gonna go ahead and seal this up. And if this ratio doesn't actually work, or there's a residue on your clothes or something like that, you'll want to wash with hot water. In order to use this, you do need to wash it with hot water, or take it and pre-dissolve it in hot water and then add it to your laundry. Otherwise, it'll just kind of clump up and stuff.
So you could add your hot water and mix it up and have it like your other cleaners and just have it ready to go.
Absolutely, yeah. And you'd probably want to, if you did pre-dissolve it, you'd probably want to shake it before you added it. You know, just sort of like a...
So that is just enough for one wash?
No, I would say it didn't give me, it was really encouraging experimentation on the person's part. But I would say that's probably one wash. Again, 2 ounces. So, you know, and then try that, and then see how it goes, and adjust accordingly. Too much, less, not enough, more. And so those are all of our recipes. And what I'm going to do for you guys, since I've already mixed this one up, is I brought some bags that we can put those in, and I'll send you guys home with a sample wash.
You're gonna put any essential oil in it for smell?
Oh, totally, yes.
Yeah, lavender.
You want some lavender? Yeah? No, I think that's a great idea.
Lavender.
She's like, because... Yes, I will. But I'm going to put them in the individual bags so that, so it doesn't make it all gooey before I put it in the bag.
You know what's nice is to mix a couple of drops of lavender oil with witch hazel as a facial cleaner.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Witch hazel and lavender are amazing.
Are you
Yeah.
doing that?
Friday's coffee.
Yeah.
I also have sweet orange here. I didn't mention that I had that. I do. There's the lavender.
So the grapefruit seed extract, where do you get that?
With these health food store, Mountain Valley Foods, Sundrop, any health food store around here should have it. That's where I got mine. Three.
So how about a good hand cleaner, say that for grease, axle grease, motor oil, or something like that? Something that's as good as that goo.
Something that's as good as the goop, that's a good question. See, that I did not actually research, and we'll go ahead and reference the book because that's an excellent question. They do include a pretty extensive list of things that helps cut grease, and I did come across quite a few things. I was limited for time's sake on the ones that I chose to demonstrate with, but vinegar cuts grease, so you could add vinegar, and then you could add baking soda to be a little more abrasive on your hand soap.
You put those two together.
Vinegar and
You're gonna get a
Drain
fizzy
cleaner.
bunch of drain cleaner. Yeah, that'll really clean the grease off your hands.
along with the skin.
That's probably true.
Isn't it citrus oil that helps like dissolve
Yes,
oils too?
yeah.
I know it works good for like pine pitch on your clothes.
Citrus oil.
Yeah, because I used it on my husband as well.
That's a really good. Yeah, if you
It might work on your hands too for car grease.
if you took your hand
Yeah,
soap and instead of the vinegar, you put the citrus oil and then a little bit of a scrubby, like the baking soda. I feel like those two things together, and maybe you wouldn't put the baking soda directly into the liquid, but just maybe like a dab, like after you put the soap on your hands with the mixed in orange oil, then just a dab of that to scrub it away would probably be a good one. And I have this gardener soap at home that I use after I get done gardening, and you know how the dirt gets all into the cracks of your hands and stuff, or at least it does mine because I get lots of cracks on my hands from doing that. They have walnuts, ground up walnut shells, or almond shells, or that sort of thing, apricot pits. Sometimes you can find those in the health food store as well, in the just in their bulk spice area, and grab some of that. So like a natural, like ground up seed exfoliant of some sort too could maybe be a good addition. Do you want some of this to take home? Yeah.
So, and for your, how about drain cleaner?
Well, I think that yeah, the baking soda and the vinegar would be awesome. They also recommend borax as a drain cleaner. If you just grab a half a cup of borax and pour it down your drain, and don't even necessarily run the water through, because if it sits in there and you have maybe just a little bit of water going through, or your regular use will start to run it out. She has an anecdote in here that I just read where she had her child and she was busy and she went to clean her toilet and she dumped her borax into the toilet bowl and didn't have a chance to do anything, didn't flush it, didn't do anything. Woke up in the morning and everything just came right off and scrubbed away, just with the borax in her toilet, and so she recommended then that you just pour it in and let it sit overnight and don't do anything else with it. So I thought that was good.
We've used the soda and the vinegar. I thought maybe you had something different too.
Yeah, these are like the traditional things that are like so useful and work so well. I can definitely look that up though. And,
That's okay. I was just checking to see if you had it on top of your head.
no.
Do you
No,
have
other
a
than
dish,
those
one of those, the garbage disposal?
That's-
They have a garbage
Peel
disposal cleaner in
and
here.
ice is really good for thinning that out, because it sharpens the blades too, and then it makes it smell good. It's antiseptic, so it disinfects it.
Yeah, they do. They recommend that to me. That's good.
We what, 4 or 5 garbage disposals. We take it out to the compost and the deer comes in and eats it.
And they probably like the orange peels too.
Oh, we're not gonna sit in stuff. But you know, you can take a lemon, say after you've squeezed out the lemon juice, and we have a porcelain sink, and
Yeah,
Like
with
we use
baking
that.
soda works really good for
yeah, it cleans chrome really
gentle
good.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about that as a cleaner for the chrome in here. It's pretty wonderful. They're pretty useful things across the board. I couldn't believe when I made my ingredient list how few ingredients I needed to include, you know, and how they all just sort of in different ratios at different times, you know, one or the other does something for something else. So, and also, so you guys can sample the Fantastic cleaner, I'll divvy it up into these little containers too. You want lavender as well?
I love the lemon. Thank you, Tasha.
Lavender's good. Nice to have so all through it.
It's probably what I'm going to use it for is my sheets.
Yeah.
The good stuff.
There you go. Grab that one. So what other kinds of things would you guys like to see emailed? Did you want any specific other information that I could include? Maybe those things that you mentioned, the drain cleaner and the grease cutter and stuff like
I'm
that?
kind of curious about, you said you could just use like a drop of orange or lemon oil on furniture.
Yeah.
Would you mix anything? I mean, one drop doesn't seem like it would go very
Well, yeah, you would do probably a few drops on
Okay.
your cloth, but they do have a recipe for quite a few different recipes, and they don't say what is better for what situation. They just give you options. So it's kind of like one of those things where you just get to try it and see which one works the best for you, I think is their idea behind that. I gotta go take care of it.
So this is the cleaner you put in the spray
Yes,
bottle.
in the spray bottle, yeah. And in this case, you could also just put it on a cloth or something too and use it. So that's the Fantastic cleaner. It's funny, I was worried I wouldn't have enough bottles. I have the perfect amount today. That's awesome.
So where did you find that book?
You know, I found it on sale at a health food store that I used to, not a health food store, but the good food store that I worked at in Missoula. I love that place too. So, and when I saw it there, I was just like, oh, I need to have that. That's actually when Kimberly and I live together. And so we definitely were excited to have it. And putting this workshop together was a godsend for me, because then I was just able to really get a little more familiar with it. Like I had already been doing this because it was so easy and simple, and being a busy student, I didn't have as much time to sit down and go, okay, what can I do with this? And I wasn't really cleaning my house. I'm not too shy to admit that, but I was doing the washing soda with my laundry. If you use a different laundry detergent, putting washing soda in with your laundry detergent is a good booster for the detergent you're already using. And also, what was the other one that they said? Well, and then the borax is a water softener, and vinegar helps get a lot of stains out if you let things sit overnight with the vinegar on them, and then boost it with the washing soda later. That definitely helps a lot too. So, and then I was also just thinking, you guys want to go home and melt some soap? You're welcome to go melt some soap. You're welcome. And also, because it is good for so much, maybe you guys can try scrubbing your toilet with some borax. Would you like to take some home? Oh, that's awesome. My parents do too. So you'd need some like soda ash or something instead, right? Do you want to take like some borax?
Yeah,
We need our house line if you have it. So.
There you go. Right, exactly.
Wait, can't you use like wood ash put down there? Isn't that
Yeah, it causes a lie.
Yeah. So I think I read that in Foxfire.
Takes quite a bit.
Does it?
Yeah.
So you bring it, but I mean, you accumulate quite a bit too in winter time, which we do.
So could you just use the borax like as a sink cleaner, just as itself?
Yep,
As
just
like
as
a
itself.
scrubbing.
Any porcelain surface or like enamel surface, I imagine would act the same way as that toilet did when she let it sit overnight, you know. Just softens everything up and then you come back and scrub it later.
You
And
wanna try that?
there you go.
Yeah, that, other stuff, that same clean, Comet
We don't use.
doesn't do it.
Yeah, oh,
Is it rust or is it?
Well, Linda said a cast iron pan in the sink here a while back. And it sat there overnight. And it left a stain on the porcelain.
Yeah.
And you could still see where it was because it wouldn't all come up.
It's one of those, yeah, it's one of those surface stains that
Yeah.
I've seen one. We'd have to.
Well, I
Which
think
is why I have stairs.
lemon juice and vinegar are things that they recommend really big for
Letting it sit overnight.
letting it sit overnight too. Yeah, and the fizzing action with the with baking soda, that really gets it in there. That's one of those things that is a convenient chemical reaction.
I wonder if that borax would work though. You
Yeah.
know, pumice stone?
Mhm.
It's
They-
good.
They have
Scrub
a
off like
pumice
water.
stick like porcelain pumice recipe in there.
Is it? Oh, that's what I would want emailed to me.
Okay. Okay. We'll make sure to do that. And then I can also, when I email you guys, I can write you guys and have an initial like little newsletter and things like that it includes different stuff. And if you guys continue to have questions or whatever, I'd be more than happy to answer them through referencing my book and whatever I have tried at home and can help you with and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so can you keep these straight? That's the borax. And that's the washing soda.
Green.
Green, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to try that
Yeah.
borax.
Absolutely.
Even the washing soda, I would imagine this is more abrasive might work than the porcelain.
The laundry soap that we use right now, it's only just a little tiny capful.
No, when
Maybe 2 tablespoons, all per load.
sometimes it doesn't take as much.
Yeah.
And especially borax because it's a natural water softener. So it might not even take that much. I've used, when I worked at the laundromat, it was the same way. Because it was soft water, it was just like a little bit. So a lot of people overuse soap, thinking, oh, it'll get cleaner, and actually leaves that
Yeah.
surface on there and can sometimes set stains and make it dirtier. Which not a lot of people know that.
So this is the borax.
Okay, I'll write it on that.
There you go. And then you want to try some washing soda for a little laundry booster if you
Yeah,
use it
we'll
later?
try that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Definitely, it was my pleasure. Thank you guys for showing up. And
So what got you to do this? Were you approached about doing this, or is it something that you wanted to do? Or
I'm
is it extra credit?
You know,
because we love it.
really, yeah, it is. It is honestly because I love it. I have this information. I had this reference resource, and we were talking about different ways that we could support, earth-friendly activities during Earth Week. And it was my idea to present this. Nobody forced me into it, but we were in the process of generating what would be a good workshop, that we could do that would be helpful and something people would use every day. So this is the washing soda.
Okay.
And those are essentially 1 or 2 uses in each one of those.
Okay.
Depending on what you're using it for, but they recommend in most cases a 1/4 cup-ish in whatever situation that you're using it in.
Yeah, we try to go less, often more.
So yeah, thank you so much guys for coming. I really
Well,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Yeah. Now we're all on tape. I hope we won't get blackmailed for something.
Which? Do you want to
Yeah,
get
but I was thinking that.
sure.
When you have.
Oh.